Hello, welcome to Emphasis Added for Monday, June 4th, 2018. And today was an insane day at the Supreme Court. Not only did we get a gay rights kind of wedding decision, but also an abortion decision. But more on that later. I want to first cover the big decision that everyone is talking about today, and that is Masterpiece Cake Shop versus the Colorado Human Rights Commission that was decided today. In a 7-2 decision, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Colorado baker who did not want to sell a wedding cake to a same-sex couple in Colorado, which was in violation of the Colorado anti-discrimination law. Now, some will say this is a major victory for conservatives, but not so fast. Unfortunately for conservatives, the merits of whether a person can discriminate on a person for sexual orientation based on a sincerely held religious belief was not decided today by the Supreme Court. Only that the Colorado Human Rights Commission showed hostility to the cake bakers' sincerely held religious beliefs. But, I just want to say that I don't think anyone should be discriminated from participating in the free market for who they are inside and out. But this is a difficult case because we also have to worry about a person's ability to express whatever they would like and the freedom from government interference, from the ability to be able to do what they want to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a person's going to be forced to draw Nazi cakes like some people suggest, or for someone to, put Satan on a Christian Bible because it's their right to force someone to do that. No, that's not going to happen. But the court, especially under Justice Kennedy, which may be one of the last opinions he writes, did say the court has to balance the sincerely held religious beliefs versus the dignity and rights of gay people to participate openly in a free market. That was clear from the get-go, but at least the Supreme Court acknowledged that, and it will be good moving forward that the cases that are in the lower courts will have that sort of standard be given to the case of the Masterpiece Cake Shop, so maybe they can work it out in the district court or the appellate court level and figure out exactly how they are going to rule in their cases moving forward. But, as the channel suggests, I want to add some emphasis to the other big Supreme Court decision today, and that was in Azar versus Gaza. And I have the opinion right here. It's a quick 5-page opinion. I'll link it down in the description below. Easy opinion. And if you just want some idea of how the law works and its really technical nature, read this opinion. It's only 5 pages. Like I said, it's an easy one for everyone to understand with very limited legal knowledge. Now, if you don't know the Azar versus Garza case, we're going to call it the Undocumented Immigrant abortion case. And you may have remembered this. This was in the news back in October. A pregnant undocumented immigrant was walking through the border, came across, wasn't properly here through the procedure that was set up by U.S. immigration. Now, in this matter, she was 8 weeks pregnant. She wanted to, after she confirmed she was pregnant, she wanted an abortion. But she was an unaccompanied minor. So they, through a whole bunch of legal maneuverings and injunctions and certain things like that, eventually this undocumented immigrant did get her abortion. So now the case was moot. So under the court's decision, which we'll get to in a moment, they decided in a per curiam opinion that the prior lower court's orders are vacated and remanded for dismissal. Now, why is that significant? And I'll get to the point. Now, so just like the free expression of a sincerely held religious belief by a Christian baker versus a gay couple just trying to get a wedding cake, here we have also another challenging issue. We have someone who is an undocumented immigrant who's not a citizen of this country, yet wants an abortion, which is a fundamental right decided for women in the United States as U.S. citizens, typically. So, where do we stand when an undocumented immigrant comes across the border who is a minor? Is that person entitled to have an abortion? And the court here did not get to that. Again, just like with the Masterpiece Cake Shop, which punted back to Colorado, the court punted back to the ACLU and the Office of Refugee Resettlement in the Health and Human Services Department that this issue may come up again. But for right now, here's what the court said. Now, the standard that they use on whether to vacate and remand a case for dismissal on a case that is moot is called the Mun-Sing-Ware doctrine. And what it says, and I quote, when a civil case from a court in the federal system has become moot while on its way here, this court's established practice is to reverse or vacate the judgment below and remand with a direction to dismiss. Now, that's a doctrine from a case called United States v. Mun-Sing-Ware back in 1950. And the court goes on, and it's real quick. It goes through the standards on what they're looking for and see if there is a specific set of factors that the court is going to consider that either favor giving that direction to the lower courts or not giving it. And here the court found that there was. Now, one of the biggest things, and this is why I want to add emphasis to, is because you have articles like from the National Review that says the Supreme Court gave the DOJ a victory in this case, while Slate.com is, this isn't a big deal. What I'm trying to tell you is that it is kind of in the middle. It is a big deal in the sense that it didn't rule against the policy. So the Trump administration, so this could be a win for the social conservatives that find abortion one of the major issues, is because they will be able to enact policies that can prevent other undocumented immigrants who are unaccompanied minors from getting an abortion and this issue coming up and maybe getting a ruling in their favor. However, they didn't get what they truly wanted, which was to punish the ACLU with sanctions because they feel that they didn't get the proper notice from the ACLU that this unaccompanied minor was getting an abortion. Unfortunately, there was miscommunication. But the court really found that there was no ill intent behind it, maybe negligent, and maybe people just were ignorant. But either which way, it's a high standard for sanctions, and the court said, no, we're not going to give sanctions here. So they did get a win on getting the writ of certiorari approved, but they didn't get sanctions on the ACLU, and more importantly, it didn't decide the issue of whether an undocumented immigrant in a federal detention center for immigration is allowed to have an access to an abortion. That wasn't decided. So there are some victories for the Democrats and there are some victories for the Republicans today. But in the end, it is just a really good opinion to get an idea of what does the court do when something is considered moot, which means the issue is already gone, and what does the court do in that regard. So it's a great 5-page decision. Again, I said link it down below. I think you should read it. And this has been Chris Flanagan with Emphasis Added. And I'd like you to subscribe to my channel. Like this video if you like my opinion or anything like that. Comment also below. And I hope to see you in the next week when we go over some more Supreme Court decisions. But once again, my name is Chris Flanagan, and this has been Emphasis Added.